Thanks for watching the Alchemy Kitchen. This is a video of many I will be making. That'll go into a certain playlist of all the things I'm making that I sell on my Etsy page. Etsy does allow you to put a video up, but I think it's limited to 30 seconds and they don't have any sound on it. It's more just show off the product. So I wanted to do videos on some of the stuff I'm putting up, just to go into detail for those interested. There's a link in the description below where to buy this if it's still available. Once they're sold, I mean, these are one-of-a-kind pieces, they're gone. Not to say I won't be making something similar in the future, but it won't be exactly the same, of course. I will update the video description when they are sold. I'll try to remember to do that so you don't watch the whole video and go to order it and be like, oh man, it's already gone. So for this first listing, I've been working on a big batch of neck knives. Neck knives are small knives you wear as a necklace, very convenient. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost complete. 2 more still in the rough state that I'm going to be finishing up. This one is finished. Some are pretty much in the same style. This is a very unique design. We'll take a look at the knife first and get into the sheath. So this kind of style blade is called a Kiridashi blade, a Japanese style blade. It usually has that sort of profile to it. And I did something different on putting the edge on it and grinding in the final edge and bevels. It's called an asymmetrical bevel. So this side is 30 degrees, this side is 20 degrees. There's some benefits to that. Supposedly it's the first time I've tried this. It is very sharp. I mean, usually I'll test the sharpness on a sharp blade by seeing if it's going to slide on my fingernail, and it digs right in. It's sharp. I mean, you see it, just no problem to make fine shavings on a piece of wood. The steel is actually from this saw blade here. It's an old mill saw blade, high carbon steel. When I use repurposed steel, I always test it first. I cut a sample off, I heat treat it and see if it'll harden and hold a good edge. I've made quite a few knives out of this blade itself and they all work very good. This is coffee etched, which gives it that black look to it. And you'll see the edge itself, it's the shiny steel. The coffee etch is partly for looks, but it also, since carbon steel is prone to rust if you don't keep it dry and oil it, that helps resist the rust. It's not rust proof, it's not stainless steel, so it does take basic care like any carbon steel knife. I wouldn't let it sit stored in a sheath for a long time because sheaths can absorb moisture. And if it is going to sit in the sheath for a while, just give it a fine coat of oil. You can use any oil. I'd suggest like a food grade mineral oil. That is going to be safe if you're cutting food with it or something. Alright, so that is, the blade is a hidden tang obviously. And this is a piece of roe deer antler. It came from this here. I actually found this in the forest. And that is what the handle's made out of. This section here is stacked birch bark. I harvested lots of birch bark this summer, and it's a process of scraping it clean, getting that outer layer off, cutting into squares and stacking all these squares up. It's very tedious and time consuming. I've done whole handles that way and it takes a lot of work. This is just this area here. We have a copper guard, and yeah, that's the handle construction. I did a bit of a black coffee soak in the birch bark just to give it that aesthetic of a darker color. The tang is silver soldered on, so it's a very sturdy construction. It's a very small knife, and that's kind of the challenge with making neck knives. You want them small and lightweight, but also comfortable. And I found, for my hands, they're average size, I guess. It fits really good because this part is not sharp, and that gives you another room to grip. I did the file work here. That is all done by hand with a file. It gives it a nice visual look, but also gives you a little bit more kind of like grip if you're holding it like this for your thumb not to slip. And that is the knife itself. And it's very lightweight, but it's very comfortable. For the sheath, I've used a thick, well, not so thick, but I can't remember the ounce, vegetable tan leather, which has been hand tooled with stamps. That's a stamp made by, I can't remember his name, Andre. He's on Etsy, makes awesome stamps, some of the best in the world. It's got a hardware for a button clasp to hold it in place. And this is from a wild boar. It's one I actually bought from a hunter earlier this year. He sold it to me whole, so I harvested the meat and kept and preserved the hide. So that is how it's made. We have this grommet here for the lanyard, and that's one thing I do like to do with neck knives, just because I use them frequently. I almost always have one on, and they're nice, but I like to be able to detach it from the lanyard easier. So it's got one of these, whatchamacallits, to easily just take it on and off your neck with the sheath if you want to just stick it in your pocket, whatever. Here, there's kind of funky laws about knives, so if if I'm going to some public places and I carry a knife like that, it could cause some shit. So that's really easy without having to take the whole necklace off, to just unclip it, and there we go. The lanyard is paracord. I did some cobra knots in it. This is a piece of fox vertebrae that was found in the forest too, along with pretty much a whole fox skeleton. Paracord lanyard. It's kind of this camo color, and it's a adjustable sliding knots, so you can make it smaller or larger. And if you're really in a bind, you have cordage to use if you want to undo the knots. So these are, these make a great gift for someone who's an outdoorsman, a hunter, someone into bushcraft, or just someone who likes the aesthetics of it and collects knives or uses knives. It makes a great everyday carry. And you always get the people like, oh, I can buy like a $20 Damascus knife on Amazon. Yeah, you can. It's probably made in Pakistan out of like car bumpers and junk. And you're going to find it might look really nice at first, but it's made like crap, and it's going to perform like crap and probably break on you before you know it. One thing nice about these little neck knives, this steel does hold a very good edge, but a small blade is much easier to sharpen. You can sharpen them a lot faster than a larger blade. So it's very easy to keep sharp. What I suggest is just after a bit of use, when you start to feel it's going dull, don't wait too long. Just use a piece of leather and strop it on the leather. Learn how to strop, look it up. It's super, super easy. And it'll get that blade razor sharp very fast, as long as it's not gone way past the point where you should sharpen it. It's a little basic care, and it'll serve you well. So that's it for this one. I will be advertising this on a few places, so I don't expect it to be available very long. I'm pretty sure I've had a few people very interested in it already. Meanwhile, I've got a lot more I'm working on. Like I said, some of these neck knives I'm completing. I have 3 or 4 that are very, very similar in the profile, but some little differences to the handle material. For example, this one I believe is it's called tropical hardwood, right? Yeah. The stamping I do on the sheaths varies. There's another one with a mosaic pin in the handle. This one I did not do the coffee etch. And I used like a snakeskin styled stamp to tool the leather. Another one with a fob, and that just makes it a little easier to pull out of your pocket if you have it in your pocket, or get a grip on and hang on to. That's the thing, like I said, with neck knives, they're supposed to be really small and convenient, but you also want the handle to be very comfortable, which I try to always, I focus a lot on my handles and making sure they fit nice and are very comfortable to use. Everyone who's checked out my knives in person always kind of notices that and mentions it, that the handles are always very comfortable. This one still has to be finished on the handle, but yeah, I'll have a few of these out. Hopefully within the week I'll have them all posted on Etsy, and I'll try to do a video on each one, a quicker than this one because this is the first one. Here's the first neck knife I made. And I use this all the time. The handle's a little bit longer, a little bit different profile, but I love this one. Also razor sharp. You see I test my knives, so I'm bald here, but I can shave with this. and it's holding its edge really good. And I mean, I find these super, super convenient. Like a few weeks ago, I was fishing and I was wading in the river, fly fishing, or I was spin fishing. So I didn't want anything in my pockets that could get wet in case I went under or whatever, or my waders leak because they're pretty old. So having a knife I could quickly access right around my neck that was above the water was super, super convenient instead of trying to dig into pockets with waders on. And I'm not just making neck knives. This one is just newly completed too. That'll be up for sale very soon. This is made from an old file. It's electro etched with a rune, the Elga's rune. That's a reindeer antler. This is Mokomegane. It's forged copper and nickel, made from American quarters on the pommel as well. Some more copper here and stacked birch bark. And jimping or file work on the spine. And old files make also very excellent knives that hold the blade very good. I kind of tend to work in knives in batches, so I've been working on quite a few these last few months. So I go through the different phases all together, whether it's the grinding, the heat treat, the sheath leather work, and the sharpening. Here's the latest. I think I'm going to end up keeping this one. I'm going to have a hard time selling it because it's my first Sanmai blade. And you can see it's acid etched and coffee etched, and it makes that interesting pattern because it's 3 layers of steel that were forge welded together. So it's there's a lot of firsts for me on this one, how I made it. Everything from the tapered tang to filling the pin myself with epoxy, putting a pin in the actual blade. Yeah, there's the Sanmai itself. That was my first Sanmai billet I did, so I just made me want to keep it. Most of these have a 20-degree edge on it, which makes a very, very sharp cutting edge, and yeah, it's my preferred. If it's a much bigger knife, I'll go maybe to a 25 or 30 degree. 25, I should say. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and the link is below. Follow the Etsy page if you're interested. I will have quite a few more knives being put up and other things I make for sale very, very soon. I'm trying to get all the stuff I'm finishing out for now because the holiday's coming up. A lot of people want to buy online. And if you're in the US, don't wait too long because the shipping seems to be difficult lately with a bunch of cargo ships stuck at the bay. So hopefully that's not cause a problem, but order early. You'll have it just in time for the holidays. Till next time.